Howdy, 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 you guys. Teresa here and
Bradley.
Bradley. You know, you're so handsome.
You're pretty pretty
I
yourself.
just want to tell you how much I love you.
Love you too.
No, but sometimes I just look at you and my heart swells all up, and I just think I love you so much. Even though we've only almost been married for 29 years now.
But we've been together for over 29
We've been
years.
together for over 29 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're doing another video because I like it when if Brad is okay with doing a couple videos, I get all excited because you guys know he does not like to be on camera. So this is we were talking about. Hi, honey.
Oh.
I see you. Um, we were talking about, it's been well over a year since we moved, and we really feel like Florida is our home, and we do really, for the most part, like it here and stuff. And so we were talking about things that we don't miss about when we lived in Wyoming, and then a few things that we do miss.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with the don't miss. We don't miss, and this is very frank talk. We don't miss the family bullshit. Of wondering if when the holidays come, if you're going to be invited for a holiday, or if you try to do something and invite anybody, if anybody even wants to come, or if they're just going to rush in for the meal and rush right back out, never offering to help with that or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of that, knowing that, you know, we will be spending all the holidays alone, and that's fine. We got used to that when we were living in Wyoming, and now there's no drama in it. It's all cool.
Yeah.
And
I got tired of we would plan a holiday dinner, and we would say, okay, we're going to eat it too. And most of the holidays I had to work, and usually I was off by like noon or 1, and
he's used to try and schedule if with him and two other employees in the liquor store, and say the combination of hours was 12 hours they were open, he would have everybody work a 4-hour shift, so everybody got to spend some holiday with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including yourself. You would. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I forgot where I was going.
That you would.
Yes, I remember now.
Right.
That's what I got tired of is, when the last few times we'd invite family over, and I would say, well, we're going to eat it too. And, but if you guys, Teresa would love to have you guys show up earlier. And usually, most of the time, they'd show up at 5 minutes till 2.
Yeah.
And they would eat, and then they would haul ass out of it. Yeah. And because another one of our other relatives used to consume a lot of alcohol, so most of them.
They still do.
Yeah. So most of them, what they would do is, since we didn't serve alcohol, they'd fly out of there so they could go back and continue the drinking.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll consume alcohol on occasion. I mean, I've gone through. Let's see, we've been here for 14 months, and I've gone through 7 beers. I know.
And I'll have a wine cooler, whatever you want to call them. On occasion, like a pina colada one or something. Very low alcohol. We're not, like absolutely opposed to it. I mean, but being diabetics, you definitely don't drink very often.
No.
And but anyway, we don't miss the town that we lived in, or the effing neighbors. That town was always very unfriendly to us from the minute we moved in.
Yeah.
And the neighbors were just, I mean, I am better friends with the neighbors here
in the year we've been here.
Yeah. And care about them more, and know that anytime, that's one nice thing about living here. Anytime I feel lonely, all I have to do is step outside, especially before it's dark, and there will probably be somebody driving by. Like, you need me to rub your back? No. There'll probably be somebody driving by, or somebody going by in a golf cart. and to just say hi to.
Yeah.
And how you doing? I'll be out
Mhm.
watering my plants at night and stuff, and a neighbor will come by and stuff, and that's
Mhm.
just very nice. I love that.
Yep.
I love that, and that's what I missed. With long time ago, we had neighbors called Herb and Gracie, and we loved them to death.
Mhm.
And anytime I felt the slightest bit lonely, all I had to do was step outside, and Gracie would be out puttering her yard, and I'd be out puttering mine. We'd be standing there cross fence yakking, and or
Mhm.
we'd be doing dishes, and her kitchen window faced mine, and we'd wave at each other and stuff.
Mhm.
So don't miss that. Don't miss the neighbors. We don't miss that house.
Yeah.
We were talking about that today. Honestly, we really, really feel that that house was cursed.
Yeah.
It had a long, bad history of bad tenants in it,
Yeah.
bad things that happened in the house. That house was impossible to keep clean no matter how hard I tried.
Mhm.
It was always major things breaking down in it.
Mhm.
And it just, the vibe, no matter what you did. I
Mhm.
mean, we repainted,
Mhm.
I even did custom paintings on walls and stuff. It just never felt like ours.
Mhm.
Brad and I were talking today that honestly, if we had to pick one, you pick one or the other of where you would live the rest of your life, in this RV or back in that house, I would pick this
Me
RV.
too.
Would you?
Yep. Me too. One of the big things that I do not miss about living there is the bitter cold. I mean, after I retired from the grocery business, I went on to sell cars. And for the most part, I really enjoyed that. But when you're walking out on a car lot and it's 20 below zero and a 40-mile-an-hour wind, and I do not miss that because you can't get warm. And the coat I had was an incredible coat. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was very good, but it doesn't matter how good a coat you have, it's not going to stop
That
the
wind will
wind.
just cut through you.
Yeah, and one of the hard parts about walking on the lot is during the day it would warm up, and the snow drifts or where they plowed the snow would melt, and then at night it would freeze again. So you'd have a real thin sheet of ice over the pavement, and then you'd get snow on top of it, so you couldn't tell if you're walking on pavement or a thin sheet of ice. And I did not realize I could do a 1.5 back with a full twist. Unfortunately, I never learned how to stick the landing, but
I don't know how many times you came home and you tell me that he fell.
mm-hmm,
His knees would be all messed up and
mm-hmm,
stuff. You knew he twisted his back. You
mm-hmm,
know, and another thing is, I don't think people really stop and realize is if you're selling cars and stuff and moving cars around, you're climbing in and out of a lot of different vehicles
mm-hmm,
at a lot of different heights.
yep,
And they always called it a lot rodeo.
yep,
And that really would jack up your back
yeah.
so bad.
Well, and having to be, especially the taller trucks, a lot of them had, most of them had running boards, at least the new ones did. Most of them had running boards. And then when you're trying to step on the running board and, there's snow and ice on there, or, there again, you can't tell if that's ice on the running board
You
or,
never can tell if it's water or ice. I mean,
mm-hmm,
the reflection of water of light looks the same.
yeah.
So
And I fell stepping on a few running boards. But yeah, I don't miss the bitter cold and the wind.
I don't miss that howling wind
Mm-hmm,
in the winter time. I mean,
mm-hmm,
you know how you hear in a movie that howling wind, it's very real.
mm-hmm,
And like you said, the bitter cold and the ice.
mm-hmm,
Wondering if you're going to drive somewhere, if you're going to be able to get there or not.
mm-hmm,
I mean, I used to worry about you so much.
mm-hmm.
Let's see. The next, the keeping up with the Joneses.
Oh yes, that area actually most of Wyoming lives and dies by the fossil fuel industry. I mean, between coal and oil. And you got all these young kids
Mm-hmm.
in the 20 to 30 age group. They're making 125, 150,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
and they all act like they're just you know they're just king shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times, especially in the grocery business, I would have people tell me, "Well, you need to go get a real job."
Uh-huh.
And I remember I sold I sold a new truck to this one kid, and when we did his filled out his credit app. He was making like 130,000 a year. He was 22 years old, living with mommy and daddy, and the truck he picked out was it was modified, and it had a diesel motor in it, and it was almost an $80,000 pickup, and his payments were over 1,500 a month, and
Wow.
I don't know how many times that he kept telling me, "Well, you need to go get a real job and work out in the oil field," and
Wow, really?
yeah, and I thought it was kind of poetic justice. There was one time I stopped by Wendy's, and he was working the drive up.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, that one,
yep,
yeah.
and he was working the drive up window at Wendy's, and I didn't see that pretty new truck out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he got laid off slash terminated, and then trying to make those truck payments on $8 an hour.
Because like where we live here, there is no really keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
People are just happy if they got a vehicle that runs.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep.
Let's see. Look down upon for your job. You kind
Yep.
of just hit on that.
Yep. Oh yeah, especially in the grocery business. Grocery business was rated right up there with fast food and convenience store. Any kind of storefront retail, you were really looked down upon.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, it's not. In most areas of the country, it's not that way. Not near as severely that
yeah,
if you're, you know,
yep,
if you're working I mean, around here, you got a full-time job, you're doing really good.
yeah,
You know.
yep.
So let's see what the other one we already did the uh, wind and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to grow things.
Mm-hmm.
You have a very very short growing season, and
Can I speak on that real quick?
yeah.
Um, Years and years ago, it's probably been 12, 14 years ago, I had bought a farmer's almanac, and there was a little graph in the back that showed the top 200 metropolitan regions in the United States and their growing season. And I found it very, very interesting that Casper, Wyoming had the shortest growing season out of those top 200s. And that was over Minnesota, North Dakota,
Parts of Alaska.
parts of Alaska, yeah, and and especially the where our house was, because it was so that area was so well. Half of our lot was sand.
Yeah.
And half of our lot was clay.
Yeah.
So the part with the clay you'd water, and the water would sit on the top. Yep. Until it evaporated.
Yep.
But then the part that was sand, you would water, and 10 minutes later it was just absolutely bone dry.
And to try to bring enough soil in and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you only get, if you're lucky, 2.5 months
Mm-hmm.
A season, and that's why we got where we didn't care as much about our lawn, because to us it was asinine to put all this money into the perfect looking lawn for such a short season.
Yeah. And during the summer our water bill was right at $25 a month, and I remember.
You mean winter?
Or yeah, that too. But during the winter, when we were trying to,
during the summer.
or during the summer, when we were trying to water the whole yard, and we had over a quarter of an acre. We had a huge lot.
Mm-hmm.
And during the summer, trying to water the whole lot, we were spending $150 a month on water.
Yeah, Brad finally had to, because I did have the front and back all grassed in, and I had done that with seed, and he finally had to ask me to not water near as much, because the water bills were so and then trying to water when the wind is just carrying everything sideways. I mean, so, and I mean, the problems with the asthma.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot more problems with my asthma. You had a lot more problems with your asthma. I was on nocturnal oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and the number of people there that you find on oxygen
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to here. And this
Yep.
has got more of a population of elderly people,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not uncommon for you to see even a lot of young people there on oxygen.
Yep.
And it's because of the weather, the
Mm-hmm.
wind, and
The
the high
altitude.
altitude.
Yeah, because our backyard, and this is thanks to Google Earth, our backyard was exactly 5,280 feet, 1 mile high. And right here, our altitude is exactly 6 feet above sea level. So, you're dropping down by a mile, and that's,
Isn't that incredible when you think about that?
mm-hmm.
How high, and I mean, we were talking about that earlier because now that I'm able to walk and stuff, what I'm finding too is that I can breathe while I walk, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really a novel concept
Yep.
and so nice. And the
Mm-hmm.
other night, I was even able to be outside for a while with the wood smoke.
Yep.
So one of our neighbors had a big fire pit going, and
Mm-hmm.
I was able to be out there with no problem. So maybe in time,
Yeah.
it gives you a lot of hope.
Yep.
And the other thing is the lack of specialists, as
Mm-hmm.
in doctors and stuff, because since Wyoming is so, you know,
Well, it's the least populated state
right.
in the United
So you
States.
don't have the specialists there. Like we can go up Tallahassee and have all kinds of specialists
Mm-hmm.
there, and if you get a specialist, they're always booked and they think they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And and so like I said, it's really nice to be able to have the medical care
Mm-hmm.
not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not saying that Wyoming is a bad place,
No,
okay? I'm glad we raised our kids
me
there.
too.
And there are parts of it that are very beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad that we experienced that. I'm glad that we experienced so much, um, you know, things that we do miss about Wyoming is the cooler nights
Mm-hmm.
in the summertime because it would get in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, during the day it'd get up in the 90s, and then at
Yeah,
night it
90s
would,
or 100s,
and at night it'd cool down into the 40s and
yeah.
50s, which
So,
was,
and that was always a nice relief. And you knew at night you could turn off all your air conditioners and just leave your windows open most of the
mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
We do miss the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
We do miss the mountains. There's lots
Mm-hmm.
of mountain ranges and stuff. We do miss that.
Yep.
We do miss the small amount of family we are close to there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the grandkids and the daughters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I miss is seeing some of the typical wildlife that we would see, like the antelope,
Yep.
the abundance of rabbits, deer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could drive within like an hour and a half or an hour and see buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that stuff that we grew up with, and some of the landmarks like
Yep.
Hell's Half Acre
Yep.
and different places like that. But there's so much to see around here.
Yeah. Well,
Another. Oh, go ahead.
one thing in Wyoming that I didn't see is wild alligators.
Really, I
Yeah.
did.
Did you?
It was IO 14.
Okay. Yeah, I never saw any wild alligators there, but
Yeah.
the antelope. Wyoming has 95% of the world's antelope
Right.
population, and last number I heard it was about 1.5 million, and so there was about 3 times as many antelope as people.
Yeah.
And Antelope capricornia americana. Mm-hmm. And then where we lived in Wyoming, we saw deer, we saw antelope, we saw fox, we saw coyotes,
A lot of
we
rabbits,
saw rabbits,
prairie dogs,
I saw elk, I saw a small herd of elk
prairie dogs.
and prairie dogs, wild turkeys,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
remember
Yeah. Up
remember
on the
that
mountain.
Yep, remember that
Yeah.
one morning we woke up and there was a cow grazing out in our front yard.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like you might want to come get your cow.
yeah, and
Poop
so
everywhere,
oh
man.
yeah,
Yeah, and you don't see as many large wild critters around here as you
No.
did there.
No. And
Yeah.
I mean, but you also didn't see, like you said, alligators and dolphins and
Mhm.
sharks and you know turtles and
Mhm.
the abundance of different wildlife here, and all the different birds here is
Yeah.
just incredible. Just love that.
Yeah.
If anybody has any great photos that you wouldn't mind me working from, email them to me, because especially looking for like pictures of birds and that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Really wanting to paint some birds and stuff. So
Mhm.
anyway, we just thought we would do this quick little, well, with us it's never quick, but this little thing about what we don't miss about living in Wyoming and what we do miss. And would we go back? Not.
No.
This is where I will probably die.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
I love living in Florida. You know, yeah, it's hot in the summertime, but then you have the other 8 months, 7, 8 months. So
I was watching the
Brad
documentary.
was buying clothes last night, by the way,
Oh
people.
yeah.
This one, he bought himself a new pair of shoes. He bought himself 2 new pairs of shorts because you know I owed him a pair of shorts because of that one. And he got them all half off. They're getting rid of the summer stuff.
No, we're
No?
no that our store is no longer going to carry clothes.
Oh, well, good. It's not really big
Yeah,
enough.
no, and it's
Yeah.
we don't sell enough to really warrant.
So he got himself a couple of new pairs of shorts and a pair of shoes, and because it's wearing out. Are you
Tote.
gonna throw them out, or are you keeping them?
I'll
Or what
probably
do you?
keep them just in case.
But anyway, that's all we got. I hope everybody's having a great day. Remember that we love you guys. We cherish your friendship. We think you're awesome, and we're
Yeah,
and so we got to say bye, Brad.
bye, Brad.
Bye, guys.